Live action.
Welcome everybody to the Casual As
Welcome.
podcast.
Casual As podcast. Welcome, casuals. Today we got our first guest on, local Townsville legend, Jimmy Judge.
Thank you for having me,
How you
boys.
going,
I'm excited for this, so no,
Fuck,
appreciate
yeah,
it.
first guest, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it.
People probably sick of hearing me and Hooper talk shit.
Never.
How was the weekend, mate? You had a pretty fucking gnarly challenge on the weekend.
Yeah,
Talk us through that.
So I decided to do something a bit different from just like the eating challenges. I tried to do like a eating and a fitness challenge. So I decided I wanted to try and burn 10,000 calories in a 24-hour period, and in the same 24-hour period consume 20,000. So I didn't end up eating the full 20,000. By the end of the 24 hours, I burnt 10,000 and eaten 12,000. But it just,
That's
it was,
insane.
But look, I was following your little journey there.
yeah.
Fuck, it looked like a struggle. Both
was
sides
a
of that.
mission.
Like
yeah.
Because you were going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like you were on fucking multiple shifts, bro.
I think I figured it out was like 6.5 hours on the assault bike through like multiple bouts, so it wasn't in a row.
Yeah, right.
And then I decided to do a 30-mile run to keep him with the 30 theme.
30, which is great. That's what, 50
30
K or
miles.
something?
Yeah, what's
What is
30
that?
miles?
48 Ks.
48K.
Yeah.
Me and the missus were driving down the strand and I seen him. We were like driving along and I was like, hey, there's Jimmy.
I just cutting
I was like
laps.
yelling out something like, hey, you're on them calories or what? And he looked wrecked, bro. But I hadn't seen his story yet.
Give
And
you a
then
bit
I
of
got home.
motivation.
A bit of
I
motivation.
got home, I
always
seen your
helps.
story and I was like, no wonder this cunt was flogged out.
Yeah,
He just ran 50K.
A bit of motivation helps, but it was fun for me too, I guess, to sort of to see myself. I was like, all right, well, if this is what burning 10,000 calories feels like, although eating 10,000 calories isn't easy, it's easier than
Yeah, of
it's
course.
easier than burning.
Yeah,
Like
I reckon
it's
most
easier
cunts
to
out there could
Consume and burn.
probably eat 10,000
I,
calories.
in a day,
but
I reckon for sure.
burning
not
that
a lot
much.
of people could burn 10,000.
Yeah.
So how
That's crazy,
did you
yeah.
come up with these challenges, or how did you get into first trying
Yeah,
these
what kicked it
hectic
off?
sort of
So
eating challenges
You've
and
always been in
fitness
fitness
challenges?
Yeah.
So for those listening, Jimmy's always been in fitness.
Always-
What's your background? You're boxing or something?
boxing,
originally?
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
actually funny.
Bodybuilding?
So yeah, went from boxing to bodybuilding. I think there's the bodybuilding. You know, when you hit teenage, you want to impress the girls and whatnot. So, but you know, my love will always be with the boxing. So then
Yeah.
once even I left the bodybuilding and came back to boxing because it's once you figure out what you enjoy,
Yeah.
that's for
the
you.
pure
You know, and
enjoyment,
dad and granddad and everyone box, so it's in the family.
Shout out to Jeff Judge,
Yeah,
one of the
shout
biggest
out.
legends I've ever met. I'm going to throw it out there. I love
Hey,
Judgy.
Dad.
He's a legend.
But yeah, and I was actually when I started boxing, we was actually with Hoops at Dreams.
We both started,
Madness.
what was 2010?
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was, 16, 17, you would have been 14 or 15.
14, yeah, 14, 15.
Fuck,
So,
that's cool.
but I remember when we would always get ready for titles, I remember being hungry and there was a show called Man vs. Food.
Yeah, bro.
And so I was like, man, I wish I could do that. So I guess subconsciously that just like stayed with me for 12 years.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well now I don't have to make weight anymore.
Yeah.
Let's give it a
Just
go.
mash out.
And that's pretty much where it sort of come
So
from.
yeah,
Yeah,
we boxed around the place for a few years, and then like obviously you going into bodybuilding,
Yep.
which we might touch on a bit more soon. But for that period, both of them sports require so much dedication, I suppose, with eating and
Yep.
like
In
you
the
say,
kitchen,
you're so deficient
Diet,
all
yeah,
the time,
dieting
you
all
know,
the
like
time.
It's
so-
half the battle, eh?
Yeah,
That's
for
probably
sure.
why you just want to eat the fucking whole fridge now.
I think so. Hey, I think
Yeah,
years,
all them hard years have like,
years
paid
of
off.
feeling restricted for sure.
What do you think's harder when it comes to the eating, boxing, bodybuilding, or
Like,
different? Is
I
it
think
similar?
It's,
or?
their
it's,
own
it's
challenges.
very different. Like I think
Yeah.
it is very different, and like I guess it just depends what you do, and like people won't necessarily agree with me saying this, but personally, I always felt at least that boxing was harder in the sense where like bodybuilding is super hard, and you've
Yeah.
got to be super consistent, obviously, because it's how you look as well.
Yep.
But the one thing, and I guess it also is just because I come from a boxing background.
Yeah,
But
yep.
I never had to worry when I was bodybuilding. Like if you slip up on your diet or something doesn't go right,
Yep.
you don't win, bugger. But if you
Yeah,
slip up when
yeah.
you're boxing,
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be bad. Like
Yeah.
it could get you
Yeah,
could
the
get
consequences
Yeah,
are a lot
there's
more
more consequences.
severe, I
hurt.
suppose.
Being in the ring and then realizing that, oh my goodness, I have
not-
no energy.
I'm not as fit as this other bloke.
Yeah, or realizing that like, oh, maybe I dieted too hard, I got nothing.
Because
Yeah.
that's the thing with like that physical sport and combat sports, I suppose. If you don't, you can eat or be. I feel like now it's a lot better, probably cutting weight and stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
say 10 years ago, people would cut weight. They'd literally just not eat or.
Yeah, at all.
And if then you don't have energy, and like you're saying, if you go into a fight, you haven't fueled yourself the right way.
Correctly.
You get in there, you got no energy, and you just get fucking
fumbled.
punched out of you.
Yeah,
you
potentially
know,
by
like-
someone that you're better than, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
So
Your
I
preparation
feel
wasn't
like,
right,
a
yeah.
lot of the time it could be that you're better,
yes,
but
yeah.
you just haven't fucking eaten or you've drained yourself so
too
much.
much. Like, you know, yeah, that's so true.
It's a big
But
part of the sport now, yeah.
yeah, I feel like with diet in general, there's definitely a lot more knowledge
Yeah.
getting around. Like, you know,
Yeah,
there seems to
yeah.
be a lot more safety around weight cuts and stuff. Whereas like back in the day, like how many stories would
Just
you hear
don't
about?
eat for 2
People
days.
Don't
and-
don't
fine.
eat. Just jump in the sauna. You'll
Coffee,
be alright.
coffee and apple.
exactly.
Or cigarettes,
sweat
like
it out, mate.
So
cigarettes and sauna.
So what was the biggest difference with bodybuilding? Do you make weight and stuff too, or
It depends what division you're in. Like there is weight
Do you,
divisions as well.
do you actually weigh in? Like you literally?
Yeah,
you do?
there is like weight and height divisions as
yep.
well, just to kind of
Height
keep
as well.
it. Yeah, just to kind of like keep it level playing field. I guess like, you know, when you look at the old bodybuilding, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the big tall guy, and you have someone like Franco Columbo, who's like a very short man.
Yeah.
It's sort of hard to put them next to each other because they both look great in their own aspects.
Yeah.
So they'd have like a short class and a tall
Yeah, I
class.
get it. Yep,
right,
yep.
yeah. So what sort of stuff did you end up doing in bodybuilding? Like what sort of levels did you reach, I suppose,
so-
or what sort of competitions did you attend? And
So I did a regional show here, which was all right when I was a teenager. Sort of, I was the only one, so like one of one. So you
cool, man.
win,
Yeah.
but it was good. It was good.
tell every
first one.
tell every cunt my first competition there was 100 people there. I beat them all.
Yeah.
Gold
So-
medal, but they gave me the
But,
top.
Yeah.
And then it was funny talking about diet and stuff, like and weights actually.
Yeah.
I in my second comp a few years later, I wasn't a junior anymore. I'd gone into like the weight categories, and I had that real toxic mentality of like, if I'm lighter, I'll be better. Because you know, I don't want to be at the bottom of the 80 kilogram weight division. I'll be at the top of the 70 or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yep.
That's very similar to boxing.
And it's super similar. And I
Because
think
people say like,
Yeah, weight
I'll be at the top end of the lower one, whether it's good for your body or
Yeah.
not.
Well, that's weight bullies. That's like
know?
heaps of people. Khabib,
Of course.
weight bully.
But
like,
then when it doesn't go well,
Yeah.
and I think that's what happened that second one I just bombed out at because I was so fixated on getting lighter that I forgot that it's bodybuilding, not like body cutting. Like, you know, so I got super duper lean.
Yep.
But I was just for how tall I was and for the weight category, I always just looked like a big praying mantis.
Stick
Yeah, because you are taller than most. You know,
Yeah,
a
compared
lot
to
of
these
them
shorter
bodybuilders are
lads,
short, stocky
very
fellas.
built, you know.
Yeah,
so
yep.
it was a learning curve. But you know, it's just so hard because even with boxing, I've had the same thought of, you know, if I go into
Get to
the
the top
lighter
end,
division,
yeah.
I'll smoke them.
I'll
They
do
might
it.
be way quicker, and then you feel so flat from cutting.
Yeah, you got to find that medium, eh?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
for
You
sure.
really gotta
Like
find
that happy
medium.
balance. Like,
So
Yeah.
boxing and bodybuilding combined, how many years of your life would that have been? So from say 14 years old to
yeah, I think
to what?
I started training when I was 12.
Yeah.
Recently,
Yeah, started training till I was 12, and like I still train consistently now. It's just sort of the goal is more longevity now.
Yep.
You know,
So what Jeff got you into boxing? Judgy took you
Funnily
into boxing
enough,
fella?
Dad tried to get me into boxing when I was like 8, and I just
Yeah.
wasn't having
Wasn't
a bar.
keen.
Yeah, because you were training MMA before you come and see
Yeah.
us.
That's what
boxing,
Judgy
weren't
told me.
you?
Yeah,
He said you
so
went over to England or something.
I
Told me some story about
actually started doing some mixed martial arts with I was doing cardio kickboxing when I was 11
Yeah, man.
with my mum and my dad, and we were at a gym called Kickstart,
Yeah.
and they used to do an MMA class afterwards. And one of the lads saw me like every day. I was at this bloody cardio kickboxing, which is like boxer size.
Yeah.
So it's not really technique, but it's
Yeah,
fitness.
it's just more keeping fit. Yeah.
And he was like, "Look, man, if you ever want to come and actually learn how to fight, you can come with us. Like, you're a bit young, but
Yep.
you'll be fine. You know, you're obviously dedicated." So I started doing all the wrestling and stuff with them, and just loved it.
That's
Absolutely
cool, eh?
loved
Yeah,
it.
it's wicked.
And then was lucky enough, we went on a holiday, me and Dad and my brother, to England, and we met one of the UFC fighters, Michael Bisping, and we got to train at his gym.
I can't believe that. Judgy
It was
told me that
it was
story.
amazing, but he later became
Yeah.
world champion. Like, he's such a nice dude.
His story is amazing
Yeah.
too. How long it took for him to get to
Yeah,
become a champion?
sleeping
When he
in
did become a
his,
champion?
he was sleeping in the car,
Yep.
sleeping
He was,
in the
he was a
gym.
meat works worker.
Yeah,
Killed
he's
cattle.
just a nice dude.
Yeah.
Like, such a nice guy. So I went over there, and like my wrestling was actually kind of on point with what it is over there in England. And they were like, "Yeah, but your stand up's not really on par. And how does every fight start? On your feet.
On your feet,
You
yeah.
always start on your feet."
Yeah, yeah.
And back then, I mean, the statistics have probably changed, but they're like 70% of fights that do end are normally ended via strikes. I mean, with the submission game now, it's probably very different.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're
There's
going,
majority of strikes
we're
back
going
then.
back to when
Yeah.
UFC was like just bleed shirts and like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
very small, you know?
Every time wearing tap out.
Yeah, tap out.
Tap out was the
tap
biggest
out,
brand.
tap out.
But don't fuck around. See someone
I
jump out.
forgot about that. So, but so then they were like, "Look, when you go back to Australia, you should learn some striking, preferably boxing, you know, or whatever you want. But like, you know,
Yeah.
the English people love boxing. Like,
Yeah.
learn boxing.
They are.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah.
And then Dad got onto some people that he used to box with, Sharky Hughes, and then Fozzie, and then sort of the rest just fell into place
Bam,
from there.
yeah.
And then I sort of just did boxing instead of MMA because I just fell in love with it so much. So,
Yeah.
We
that's
started
wicked.
traveling around a bit as teenagers, going fucking
Such-
all over North Queensland competing. That was fun.
Such good memories, honestly. Such good
That would've
memories.
been
Because Judgy's dad and my dad actually fought as amateurs back in
Yeah,
the day.
Yeah,
fought
cool.
each
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then his dad ended up bringing us, bringing Jimmy to train.
Did you
with
ever
us.
fight? Used to?
Nah,
No,
we were
we
teammates because
tried,
we
yeah.
started on the same team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, which was Dreams, you said.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
first
mad.
night, Kerwin Tavern, we both had
Yeah,
our
our
first
first
fights on the
fight.
same night
Really?
out at
At the
Kerwin.
KT, like at the back
At the
there?
back, so
At the-
before they done it up, there was just like a big open lot
Yeah.
sort of thing. They used to have fights there all the time.
Really?
And,
Fuck, that's mad.
yeah, it was,
It was
deadly.
good. Yeah.
And then travelled around the place.
Yeah, really
North
great. Like you get to
That's
see a lot of
all-
the
that is
place too.
fucking
Hey,
cool.
you get to see how great. Like,
Yep.
yeah. No,
Because some of them
cool.
towns, you got to Mariba and that. they have some
Mariba,
random-
Atherton.
Some of them random small towns like love
heaps,
boxing, yeah.
Oh, and the crowds.
Yeah.
The crowds,
It is
man.
rough as
Oh,
guts, eh?
amazing. I remember being like 16 and like I'd not really been exposed
Charters
to.
Towers.
And
We
you had a
went out
pub.
to Charters
Yeah.
Towers a couple times
I remember
before.
that.
At
And the crowd would
races
be-
or
The crowd would
at the
be
Waverley?
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
The crowd would be
Rough as guts.
hit him. I'd be
Yeah.
like 16, like
Getting
"Oh,
pumped up off it."
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. Like,
Fuck, that's cool as. But then you did Muay Thai even. But I remember going to Mitchie's and seeing you at Muay
yeah,
at
so
Mitchie's
like,
there.
and then so after the bodybuilding, I was like, oh, I kind of want to get back into a bit of,
Yep.
you know, a bit of striking and stuff. So I went back to, it's called Courage now, but they're the same building that was Kickstart.
Yeah, okay.
So then I did a bit of like MMA with them, and then went to like our mate Mitch had his what was that, fight firm?
Fight film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So I
like
went,
Thai
went there,
boxing,
did some
yeah.
Thai
Thai
boxing, just
kickboxing.
trying to learn some different stuff.
Mix it up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I mean, like, just even that in itself, I feel like it's just such a good stress relief, right? Like,
That's why.
doesn't
that's
matter
why I
what
was
it
going
is.
there. It was
Yeah,
awesome. Really good, man. Especially from where we were working at the time.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's good for your
yeah,
head. It's good for your
100%.
head more so than your body. Like than your
100%.
physical. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. The biggest thing with any sort of combat sports, I feel, is it gets your brain ticking over.
Yes.
You know, like you
Yeah.
can go lift weights, whatever. It's sort of mind numbing a
Yeah,
bit to me
Yeah.
anyway.
For sure.
But you learn, like, because you're actually learning
Yeah.
as you're working out and getting the physical benefits. But you're learning
You're thinking-
a new skill, but your brain's always ticking over.
I like it because you're in the present moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no time to stress when you got someone punching
Can't
in the
think
face.
about,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you're
You can't-
having,
it's, same, it's similar to like riding motorbikes and all that. It puts you in the very present moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a meditation in itself. You know what I mean? You're not worrying
100%.
about. You're not overthinking. You're just in the pure moment.
that's
You're
such,
feeling
I
the moment.
agree with that analogy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just exactly like a motorbike.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have
exactly.
time to think
You
about,
got
oh, it's
nothing.
work was stress free. Like, it's me on two wheels.
Yeah.
You know,
it's,
or
just,
I'm getting punched in the face.
it's a
no
form of
time to think
meditation. You're
about-
just sort of forgetting about everything else, being in the
You hear
moment.
that heaps with surfers, eh?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard some kind who's real into surfing and they
Yeah.
talk about being out on the water
Yep.
and like just how sort of hypnotized they get.
Being real present.
Forget about everything, and you
Yep.
don't even have to be catching waves. You're just out,
out.
Exactly.
calming.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about anything else. You're just thinking of that next wave, sort of thing.
It's fucking cool.
Activities,
It
any
is.
sort of activity
for
like
sure.
that. That's sort of as frustrating as golf is.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I sort of get
Fuck, it
like
is
that in
frustrating.
golf
That's a heck of a
because
sport.
it's fucking sometimes more stressful, but it's the same sort of mentality I feel. And because I didn't have that competitive edge for, the last 6 or 7 years until
Yeah.
recently when
Yeah.
I got back into boxing, at least that I could have that challenge, but you're out there and you're not thinking about anything else
Yeah.
other than that next shot that you got to make,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yep.
You,
It's
you
time
literally
out.
forget about everything else.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to zen out from everything. Let it all go.
I guess it's so hard being present in today's
It is.
world.
Yeah,
You
it
know, like
really
we're
is,
always
man.
stressing about like what will happen or what could happen.
Yeah.
So I guess like this sort of stuff is what keeps
Yeah.
us human. I guess.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It keeps
Very
you primal.
important.
Yes.
It keeps you in
Yeah.
the moment when you're primal. Because back in the day, that's like when people were hunting and all that. That's what they were. They were
You
in the
have to be.
moment.
Yeah, exactly right. For
Where now you
sure.
have so many distractions.
Yeah.
You know, you got fucking the TikTok generation where, like, it's 10-second videos. People zone out.
Oh,
Where
I'm
this just
guilty.
puts you in the exact
Yeah.
moment.
I'm guilty
I'm
of
a
it, like
sucker for the doom scroll.
you know,
bro.
and the
I'm
old
mad for it.
phone in your pocket. Like,
Yeah.
I check it when it hasn't even gone off. Like,
Yeah, I know.
So
We're all
That's
yeah.
the sort of hard thing too, I suppose, with what we're starting to get into and yourself
Yeah, yeah.
doing a lot of
Yeah.
social media stuff. You don't want to be addicted to that device,
Oh,
but
it's
it's hard
so
sometimes
hard,
when
yeah.
Nature
you
of the
look
beast,
at,
eh?
Yeah.
because you're trying to sort of. That's where you
wanna
putting all your
progress
stuff,
it,
you
yeah,
know?
for sure. Yeah,
So
definitely.
you need to be part of it.
Yeah.
Eh?
But
Yeah.
yeah, what 10, 15 years of cutting weight, boxing, bodybuilding, and then you just thought, I'm going to fucking eat everything.
it's
I
like,
see.
I've done my time, but I'm gonna mung out.
Send this.
How did that sort of start? Like,
Yeah, what kicked that off? What was the
Yeah,
first?
so like there's a sports bar in Townsville actually called OBJ's in the city.
boy, it's gone
Oh,
into
they're
what
gonna
is- what do they call it?
receivership or
Receivership?
something.
What's that mean?
Yeah,
Where they're gonna
so-
put it up?
so
They're gonna sell it or something.
They were talking about they might be selling it.
So
If
that
someone
place
needs to
kicked
buy
off.
it.
There you
It's
go.
deadly though. It's fucking-
Unreal. It's
sick.
so good. So
Yeah, it's a sick
I actually
place.
bumped into one of the fellows that runs it the other day, and I don't know if they've had some good news or whatnot, but he said to me, "Don't worry, Jimmy, we'll
Oh,
still be
that's
here
good.
for your challenges."
That's
And
good
I
to
was like,
hear.
"Oh,
They
thank
They
God."
got really
Yeah,
good
that's
food
good.
They're-
too.
It's so
really,
good.
really
The
good
staff
food.
are like cool lads.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's what kicked it off because that's probably the only place in town that is known for the challenges. for
Yeah,
me.
like,
you know what I mean? Like,
especially like being in North Queensland.
and you get
we-
that singlet or shirt.
yeah,
they give you a
and they
shirt.
give you money back for your
Yeah.
feed if
Yeah,
you finish in the
exactly.
time.
Yeah, right.
Um,
So what was the first one?
The first one, it's actually funny. The first one that I ever did was a steak challenge, and I didn't beat it at all. Like,
Yeah.
because I didn't realize there was any form of preparation you could do to
You
give
thought you just
yourself.
mung out?
I thought you just rocked up. Well,
Yeah.
actually, to be honest,
Yeah, just rock up hungry.
yeah, I
Rock
made
up
it.
hungry, man.
I made it worse. I was like, I'll work up a big appetite. So I decided to do this nuts. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for a swim,
Wow.
and then I'm gonna go for a bike ride, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for a run. So I did like 4 hours of exercise, got myself proper dehydrated, and then tried to smash this kilo steak with
Yeah.
an additional kilo of sides. So dehydrated, eating salty foods straight away. I was like, ugh, I'm not
Yeah,
well. I
yeah.
don't feel good.
Oh, really? Yeah, I wouldn't even. Honestly, coming into it blind, I would have thought the same.
Yeah, well, like,
I would've
and
thought you'd do
it's
his
just
exercise and then-
the learning curve. I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the exercise too, but
Yeah.
I've sort of learned now from just watching other people do it
Yeah.
and hearing them talk on YouTube and stuff. You don't like, if you're doing a challenge later in the day, I just don't like to eat at all in that day, just sort of fast to it,
Yep.
but stay super hydrated in the morning of.
Yep.
Because you've only got room for food or fluid. You don't really have
Yeah,
both. So
yeah,
if you
yeah,
stay
okay.
really hydrated before, then you give yourself like a 4-hour window to get rid of the liquid.
Yeah,
You know,
okay, yeah.
so then you're going in empty and hydrated, because the last thing you want to do when you're doing like a real salty challenge is start going, oh, I need water, because the second you start sculling
Yeah,
water,
Then
your
you're
belly's
filling-
full.
Then
You're
you're filling
done.
the guts.
You're done.
Yeah,
you know?
wasted space.
A wasted space,
Yeah, right.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So, but all the stuff that no one really you don't think about, I guess.
And have
Yeah.
you just
Yep.
read about this sort of stuff, picked it up, felt your
Yeah.
own body,
Yeah,
as
just
doing different challenges? and-
experimented with
Yeah.
it, sort of see like what feels good.
So what was that
It's
kilo steak, kilo
Yeah,
chips?
kilo of steak
or-
and a kilo of wedges.
And that wasn't like, I feel like you've just gotten into it real quick. That wasn't been that long
Yeah,
ago,
so
what?
it was like the time's really flown.
Yeah.
What's it now? Like April? Yeah,
Yeah.
April. So that was probably the end of May last year. So it's sort of in the space of like 11 months.
So you haven't even done a year of your
No, it
challenge?
hasn't been a year yet. Like,
Fucking
in
mad
fact, this
dog.
time last year I couldn't even do the steak challenge because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
failed it. So
There you
yeah,
go.
so
Fuck.
but it's
Unreal. Come a long way.
I think it's just the same with me and hoops. When you get something that you can be like a little bit competitive with
Yep.
after, even with yourself, like not
Yeah.
against anyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
After
Testing
having
elements.
growing up with the boxing and with all this other stuff.
competitive nature all the
Yeah,
time.
I needed
yeah.
a goal for myself, and it also keeps me accountable to my fitness training.
Yep.
Because I said to myself,
Mm-hmm.
you can do this, man, but if you end up fat, you're out. I'm pulling you out. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Forcing yourself to do exercise
and
in
it's
the,
just,
in the means of
and it
fucking
gives
food
you like, I
challenges.
think it also gives you like, for me at least, it's like, all right, cool. Like, I don't really feel like doing cardio every day,
Yeah,
but I also know that I feel better mentally afterwards.
yeah.
And then also you've got that little push of like, I'm gonna end up real fat if I don't. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so but sort of balancing it as well, So
But you've been doing some hectic physical challenges as well. Has that sort of
That's-
just been to counteract the food things, or that's another just sort of
Or he's
mental
just,
thing
you're just a
you're trying
sucker for
to...
punishment.
I think
Yeah.
as
Just
well.
fucking hates himself.
Just hates
Yeah.
himself, this guy. Just
I
flogging himself.
think it's that real thing of I just want to see how far I can push myself.
Fuck yeah.
And then like once I get there, I want to see how much further I can push.
Yeah,
So like
keep pushing it.
not even just with the food, but like with running or stuff like that, because it's not always stuff that I enjoy. But then when things get a bit crappy in life, it's nice to go, oh well, you can run 50
Yeah,
k's, you can
yeah.
deal with.
Yeah.
Someone cuts me off in traffic, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can just keep you cool for a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the end of the world, because I've been through a lot worse. Sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We sort of
We're talking
chatted
about-
about that.
yeah,
about,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
perspective is amazing,
It
I
is.
guess.
just yeah,
Yeah.
once you're in a shitty situation,
It's like
you
a
can get
tool.
through it,
It's like
yeah.
a
Yeah,
little tool,
oh, for
a
sure.
little patch
Yeah.
for your mind to be like, it's
Yeah.
alright, I've done worse than this.
So,
Some
but
of them runs
I
are
feel
huge.
like the amount of time I've known you since you were 14 or whatever, you always sort of had that little bit different drive mentality. Like you're literally the fittest kid I've ever seen. You know,
I
like as a
appreciate that,
15-year-old, we'd do our like long runs from boxing and stuff, and this kind of just be flogging everyone. Like, so you've always sort of just had that mindset, I suppose, to just once you're doing something, you're fucking doing it. You know?
I think I'm really lucky in the sense that I get it from dad in the respect too, where it's like if you're gonna do something, like do it to the best of your personal ability. So even if you're not the best,
because he was a good boxer, eh?
He was good. Yeah, he was good. And like just even with life, like you know how cool he is in general.
Yeah, he is.
But just that mentality of like you don't have to be the best at it, but you can be your best self.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like the thing that I'm most afraid of in this life is realizing that I had more to give, and not because like so and so is better than you. There's probably always going to be someone that's that little bit better.
But at least you know if you've busted your ass and given yourself the best possibility to win a fight, win a competition, win a food challenge, and you fail. You haven't necessarily failed. If someone's, you know, if someone's better or it's not your day, whatever.
As long as you go out and try it.
100%. You know, you can sleep well at night.
Everything.
You don't want to go in underprepared, I suppose, and then be like, oh, I could have done. One of them lads, could have, should have, would have. One of them lads sitting at the pub at 50, I could have done this.
I would have been in the Broncos.
Well, why weren't you, you know? Like, you gotta fucking have that push, and that's what sets a lot of people apart, I suppose. And you know what they say: the older you get, the better you used to be.
You know,
so,
I was Golden Glove back in the day, bub.
There's always a Golden Glove. There's gonna be some stories about how good the eating was going.
Tell them I ate fucking 5 horses.
I've had about 30 tacos, bud.
Sit at the pub and tell people.
No, Judgy, I love his mentality, man. He's one of the most uplifting people I've ever met. Honestly, just like pure positive bloke, pure positive energy, and they're the best kind of humans. But then I've seen that fucking cross the line side of him too. You don't want to fuck around, boy.
I think that's the best example of firm but fair.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and even growing up, it was still that healthy respect of like, super lovely, but I don't want to chase my luck. You know, which I think a lot of people could benefit from parenting that is a bit firm but fair, because I would be way more likely to play up if I didn't have that.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yep.
So just having that growing up, that's just sort of set this thing in your mind. I'm just gonna, if I start doing something, whatever it is, because you've obviously done a lot of things. I'm just gonna fucking bust my ass and try as hard as I can.
I was super fortunate to have that sort of instilled on me at a younger age. You know, so that was I'm very grateful for that. Like
fucking legendary.
So what's some other crazy things you've done recently, like challenge? Say kilo of steak, kilo
of wedges,
chip, which you didn't get through
that.
Have you been back and done that since?
I've been back, and then it's funny because like I love OBJs and they know me now. So
you're like the local. They should put a little photo of you up on the wall.
Pretty much, they're just like, oh, it's him again.
You got like 20 of those things.
I've got like 6, bro. Every time I rock up, I'm like, look, I don't want the meal for free. I just want to beat my time. But every time they give me a new singlet,
that's cool. The staff are good. I've been
there
a couple
so
times
good.
and they're awesome.
And they're like, look, we'll give you your money back. I'm like, it's like it would be cool for me to get my money back the first time, which I did, because there's a big hot dog as well, a big 2-foot hot dog.
He eats these without buns.
Your cheeks go. Yours frozen.
And so I just go back and try and beat my time each time. So, but I think with
it's like the top 10 are like all you.
It's just keep going back trying to beat the time. So
this fucking guy.
And it's funny too to just watch, like, because like you know you practice and stuff like this, and then you go back after a couple months and your time will be like 4 minutes quicker, and you're like, oh, look, it must be working. Like
when you the time you went back, say the first time you couldn't beat it, and the time you went back, did you demolish it?
Well, so because it was all within like a couple of months. So the first time I couldn't do it. 2 months later it was like 26 minutes. 2 months later it was 18 minutes. I think the last time was like 15.
15. So just
it's sort of like.
What's the hardest? What's the hardest? You did one down in Gladstone or something. I remember you seeing you do one down. I don't know if it was Goldie or something. And I just looked at the size of the food. And I was just like,
I did a
lot of food.
Did a couple of big ones in the Goldie, like a couple of big burger ones.
Yep.
But I think probably one of my hardest ones that I've done recently. I went to Ely Beach.
Yeah.
Actually, it's called Little Vegas, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was like this big burger.
That's the restaurant, Little Vegas.
Yeah. Little Vegas there's like the burger bar.
Oh, right.
And there's like this big burger, 2 serves of wings, a liter milkshake.
Ooh,
and
that was
the
bit that sounds fucked up.
And then
that milk would cripple me.
Oh.
Maybe it'd help me. I'll be running the toilet up, free it up.
And then they had this like big rectangle plate, and because in the challenge it's like 2 serves of wings, 1 serve of fries, 1 burger, and 1 milkshake. So when it comes out, I'm like, bro, that is way more than 1 serve of fries. And they went, well, we've actually changed the challenge. It's just fries to fill up the rest of the plate. So they've got this incredibly big serving dish, I guess you would, like a big rectangle plate. So it's like burger, 2 wings, and they've just like jumped the fries, just sent it, really. So that was, I reckon that was probably the hardest one I did, because normally when you do this stuff, like I'll sip some like Coke Zero or something, like kind of make you burp, kind of makes you feel like you got some space. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so I'll drink.
You want to drink that fizziness to help you free up space?
Yeah, so like I'll try
I suppose, if you burp, it makes you feel
gives you more
better,
space. So I'll try and systematically like plan it. So like the beginning of the challenge, if things are real dry, like burger buns, etc., I'll have a bit of water, but just like sips, just to get it down. And then at the later half of the challenge or the last bit, when you're really like, I just need any space, then I'll start sipping like a fizzy, sugar-free drink.
Really? Yeah.
And it does actually, like, I didn't know, but just
settles the food.
It settles the food, but also helps you, like, you'll be like, oh, I'm so full, and then you'll burp and be like, no, I've got space.
It's like a second win.
It is actually, like, no pun intended, but it actually is. But I didn't have that with the milkshake, because I was like, I don't want to.
Because that'd just be filling that.
Well, there's so much liquid, so you're like, oh.
Did you just leave that till last, or how did you do it?
So I was trying to use the milkshake like I normally would the water, just to try and get things down at least. But it was so rich. I was like, it was delicious, but it was so rich. I was like, oh, this is a mission. So I just sent the food, and then right at the end, I was like, we'll just touch and go and see how we go. I just chug this milkshake, and hopefully it stays in my belly.
Hope for the best.
Hope it stays down. And it did, luckily. And then the owner came up and we had a big chat. And I was just sitting there the whole time, like, come on, bro. Down.
Like when you're done shots at the bar when you're younger and you're like, hack it, I don't want to spill over
There's
the bar.
There's got to be a point where it comes back up. And then the drive home from Early Beach, because I wasn't staying the night. I just drove.
For a day trip, you man.
So I just drove to, woke up, drove there, did the challenge, drove home, and that drive back. Well, I lied. There was like a 30-minute period after the challenge where I laid in my car with the aircon on, where I was just like
with the sweats,
wakes up 2 days later,
like a big Snorlax with my stomach. But every bump on the road back to Townsville, I was like.
So what was the go with that challenge? Was that a time thing or the get money back sort of thing?
So with that one, it was because no one had finished it to that point. So they didn't have a time limit. It was just.
Get it done.
If you can finish it in one sitting, so you can't leave the table.
Once sit there for 12 hours.
Pick it off slowly.
Just graze.
But like once you start, you can't leave. And then if it's all down and you keep it down, then you win. Because one lad apparently the night before had come in and smashed. I think I did it in like 35 minutes or something. It was just, but apparently one lad came in the night before and sent it like 29 minutes. And before he'd even got before he got the last bit of the milkshake down, the rest of it came back up.
And
they were
too
like,
hard,
and there's too much, too many.
Jump the boat.
So they were like, you got to kind of keep it down for at least a couple of seconds before.
That is fucking unreal. So that, you reckon that's the absolute hardest?
I couldn't
even imagine driving home. Because you must love just fucking punishing yourself. Because when you eat a lot of food, that just makes you tired.
You just want to go to sleep. Driving 3 hours after that would have been tough.
I think I was lucky enough in the sense where I was so full, I couldn't get comfortable. So it was probably like by the time I got home, it settled enough that I could rest. Initially, I was so full. I was like, I wasn't even like necessarily tired. I was just like capacity. I was like,
thinking about not spewing.
Thinking about like, don't hit a pothole. You will be sick in the car. There is no bucket in the car.
Or projectile.
Yeah.
So you've been even traveling a few times for the Eags now. Is that something you're doing, or you've just seen Eags challenges and like, right, I want to do that, or people reaching out now?
So some people will reach out. I'm really lucky to. I'll have like people will message me on Instagram, like with that Early Beach one. Hey man, you should do this.
That's cool.
Oh, like ones that they've seen and said, you should give this a crack.
We thought of
you don't hear of a lot, especially up here in where we are.
Yeah, and it just seems to be one of those things where like every little place, like I went to Bowen the other day. Bowen has one. I had no idea.
I love Bowen. Bowen is the most underrated place.
Bowen is beautiful.
It is. There's Maggie Island on the mainland.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice.
It is
but stuff like that, like I had no idea. And someone's like, hey man, there's this burger challenge in Bowen.
So it was like burger challenge, was it?
Yeah, it was like
one of the pubs.
I think it was called the North Australian or the North Australian pub or the Great North Australian pub. But super lovely people. But that was another fun one. It was like $50 for the burger and the chips. This big thing comes out, and they've got like a leaderboard on the wall and stuff. And you don't have to beat the leader. You just have to finish the thing in 25 minutes. But then like we had a group of people standing around cheering and stuff. They're like, because there was an American that had travelled over and he was on the top. you can beat him. And so I beat his time, and everyone went wild. I was like, I never thought I'd get cheered for eating food.
Well, people sitting there watching you.
Yeah. So like
a little bit of motivation. Did it motivate you, or did it put pressure on you? A little bit of both.
I think a little bit of both, but like it's the same thing. I always just give people a bit of a like disclosure at the beginning. Like this is great to watch in a video because it's sped up. But in real life, it's a bit gross. And
it would be.
It's a little bit gross.
Sloppy Joe, man.
Yeah, exactly right. So
sloppy, fingers sloppy. Got to mow. It's a bit hard to mow.
Stuff goes everywhere. So, but the best crowd I ever had was at the Gladstone Bowls Club.
Yeah, right.
And you can imagine what a bowls club
all the old fellas love it.
All the old women and men, probably like 70 was the youngest. I'm sitting there doing this like massive big burger and fry challenge, and they'd just come in on lunch from bowls. And they were louder than any pub crowd I've ever had.
They have like $12 roast on or something.
Yeah, they were eating.
The specials they always have in them.
Yeah.
$3 pots and $12 roast or something like that.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like, and I think that's where I really feel like that was one of the earlier ones. Yeah. I really fell in love with this little community.
So were they all like hanging around? Because in the videos you can't see it.
No, because I've sort of got like the video on just me sitting down on the plate, but they'll sort of be around, or they'll be watching the phone from the other side, so they'll be like opposite the side. Yeah,
I seen one in the Goldie, and at the end of it, you must have cut into the actual audio, and everyone was clapping and shit.
It was,
man. I was like, "Fuck, that's a lot of pressure."
Old mate started it with that. Like that's another crazy one that gave me a bit of the jitters. They ring this bell. It's like ding, 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 and then they start playing Eye of the Tiger, and I'm like,
"Is this to start the challenge?"
To start the challenge. I had no idea, so I'm sitting there like. Getting my phone ready, and I hear bang, bang, bang.
Rising up,
and then everyone's just looking at me, and old mate's walking over with this 2 kilo burger on a tray, and I'm like,
you're trying to float on the radar.
I'm just like, man, I'm so nervous.
He's shadowboxing.
Imagine.
Have a bite, shadowbox.
But that was that one. Because then afterwards they did the same thing, and then like they bloody. Announce it basically, but it's just it's such good vibes.
Yeah,
and it's sort of just I guess harmless fun.
Yeah,
everyone takes a break from being serious.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, we're just gonna watch that guy eat the burger. Why? Because we just want to. Just because we can.
I suppose probably had fuck all happening all day at the Gladstone Bowls Club, or these random little pubs.
Yeah.
You're probably used to it by now too. Like you're just used to everyone looking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess that's the benefit of having face tattoos as well.
Exactly.
You're used to
people are always looking at you.
You're just checking it out, not in a negative way, just as a curious way.
Is that a thing too? Like people see you rocking up some big cunt with tattoos everywhere, and then you're just like the nicest lad. Oh, I'm just here to try your food challenge. I want to eat a big burger.
The nicest cunt.
I'm real hungry.
I think
what sort of what do you call it?
Like the reception that I get from them.
What sort of reception have you got? Like
it's shock most of the time, and then afterwards when they, I've had a bit of a chat to them, and people get a little bit more comfortable. They're like, "Can we say something?" And I'm thinking, I already know where we're going with this. You're really nice for how you look.
True.
Really? They're like, no, but just stereotypically. I'm like, I understand. I do.
That's probably a great thing for people though, because
for sure,
not just yourself, but there's a lot of people out there, who get judged on certain things physically.
Like a filter, right? It's like a filter.
So, of course.
It's probably good for these people now to see that.
Yes, and especially too, I guess it also shows that like with this new age that we're kind of getting into, there's a lot of people with lots of tattoos that have real jobs.
They're
like
so
back
common.
in the day.
Back in the day it was demonised. Like fucking,
I think Grandma said back in the day it was sailors and bikies.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, I'm neither of those.
Yeah. Over in like Japan, like you're still not allowed in the onsens.
Yes.
When I went to Japan, I wanted to go swimming in the onsens. You're not allowed to because it's tattoos.
Yes.
Because it's like fucking the
Yakuza.
That's him. Yeah, exactly. That's something. Yeah. So so it's
you
like
can't have hot chips. You can't have hot chips.
Oh, I'm not allowed hot chips and gravy, mate. You're out the door.
We were talking about like shit tattoos and stuff, and these fellas at work used to run him down about his hot chips and gravy.
I've actually not seen that.
It started off with this one, bro. This is the Seamus one. As I started off with this one, I did the running of the bulls in Pamplona. See that shit one? Yeah. And I fucking got spastic drunk, whatnot. Did the run, and then fucking blackout. Woke up in a park. Literally, this was the next day. Sun up, and I had glad wrap.
Tattoo.
Yeah, glad
That's
wrap.
Amazing.
And I had the paper towel there, but I had paper towel. You know how they wrap it?
Is that Spain?
Spain, yeah.
And
And I lifted.
Shout out to that Spain
I
tattoo
was,
artist.
I know,
for
I was
tattooing
mad.
you on.
And I was like, I was young then. I was 19, I think it was. Like, and I only had one tattoo before that.
That's amazing.
And that was in here. And I lifted it up. I thought I'd hurt myself because you know when you get tattooed when you're drunk, you bleed a lot.
Yeah.
And I lifted that up, and I was like, "What the fuck is that shit? Is that shit?" And then I was like,
That's permanent.
fucked, can't that's a tattoo."
Wow.
And then it's just ticked it off with these stupid tattoos, but fucking all these cunts roast me about the old cheese chips and
That's
gravy,
amazing.
the poutine.
Poutine. That's amazing.
Fuck. Have you tried poutine? You should get that
I
in the
haven't
challenge,
actually,
man.
no.
Well, the one that you did, I reckon that I thought was fucking hectic was the boiled eggs one.
Oh, man.
I looked at that. That made me sick.
How many did you have to eat
50
for that?
boiled eggs.
That made me sick.
Oh.
That
watching
reminds me, you know the
'Cause they're
movie
so
The
dense, right?
Replacements?
Yeah.
How that big fucking Japanese fella, the big sumo wrestler?
Yeah.
It's like have you seen it?
No, I don't
Football movie. I think it's based on a true story.
Yeah, something
So
like that.
some team, all the players go on strike. Long story short, they get all these replacement players in, but they get this one big cunt. He's a Japanese sumo wrestler, and he's eating all these eggs before a game. All these boiled eggs in the dressing room. He ends up spewing his cunt up halfway through the game.
50 boiled eggs, man. Yeah, I don't know. I was packed with my smoko for work. Sometimes I pack 3 or 4 boiled eggs, and that's dense.
It's hard to
That's
eat.
dense.
It's a lot.
You
It's
eat
a
2
50
boiled
cunt.
eggs.
That 50.
Yeah, I was like, it was like some.
Even the preparation for that would have been hectic.
Oh, yeah, so
Well,
like
this is something.
it's just the peeling process. I recruited help because
it's a lot.
the peeling process was like
It's a lot of work.
almost worse than the eating process. And like it's funny too because like a lot of these challenges, you start and it's just like almost like when you start a run and you feel great, you're like, this is going to be better than I thought.
Yeah, you got
and
a bit cocky. Yeah.
And then you pass that, you pass the first K, and you're like, oh my god, I'm dying.
Yeah. How am I going to be able to do this?
100%. So, but I actually got inspired from that because there's an old movie called Cool Hand Luke. It's like I think it's an old
I've heard
prison.
of it. Never watched
Yeah,
it.
well,
Must be one of
I
the
think it's like an
guys.
old prison movie,
Yeah.
and he's like Paul Newman or something like that's how old it is. I probably butchered his name, but he's like, I can eat 50 eggs, and then the prisoners say to him because he's a prisoner as well, no one can eat 50 eggs, and he does it in the movie. Like it's it's like I've seen a few people do tribute to that, and I was like, I'm gonna do that as well because it's just. Hard to think of other challenges when
It's
there's
cool.
not a lot
I like
around.
that you're coming up with your own ideas, but like the thought process of trying to put ideas into it's cool. That's part of the fun, right?
Yeah, and trying to think of things that other people will find interesting.
Yeah, okay,
you know,
yeah.
and also not be terrible for me.
Yeah. Too
Some
harsh on
people
you.
are like, that fish from Sweden that's stirred, like the real smelly
Yeah,
fish.
I know what you're talking
You
about.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it smells like poo, and it's.
Yeah.
Someone's like, you should do a big, big stir strumming challenge. I'm like, that becomes a torture challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
just-
Fear Factor or something where you're forced to eat shit.
I hate myself, but I don't hate myself that much.
Yeah, it's like I like eating yummy food, and then by the end of the good food, you're like, I'm sick of this good food. But if it starts bad, it's all bad. Like, you know.
Wait, so what's this flavour fatigue you talk about? Or you talk about in the sometimes, and I'm still don't have my head around it.
Yeah, so with especially with the challenge, it's like really voluminous. Like for instance, eggs or like Whoppers or something that's like I'm going to eat this one type of food
over and over and over.
It's just like not only do you like when you're eating a big meal like steak and veggies or something, and then you're like, oh, I'm pretty full, but then you have an ice cream.
It's fresh. It's like you get another second win. Yeah,
and
you do.
then you're like, man, I'm hungry again.
Yep.
Because it's like kind of mixes up the flavors and it's sort of different types of food.
Yep.
If you're like trying to smash a couple of kilos of like Whoppers or
just
50 eggs, it just gets so repetitive on your palate that it almost starts making you feel a bit ill because you're just like, one, I'm getting full, but two, this flavor is like it's overload.
Yeah.
It's just like almost like too much.
Yeah, it gets a bit bland.
It's so bland, which is where the Coke Zero and stuff also kind of comes and help. Because it's kind of like a bit of sweet, bubbly thing to kind of cut away that like I've just eaten. I've just eaten 9 Whoppers. What do I do to get it down? Like try and do something. Like, it doesn't always help, but it helps a little.
Has there been anything that you've eaten in your challenges and then just completely gone off it and like haven't eaten since? Or
True. Like when you get real drunk when you're younger on alcohol.
And like rum, like we were saying, fucking
yeah.
Bundy rum.
Puts
Like,
you off
I
it.
won't
You can't do it
fucking
again.
drink
Yeah.
it because you have that bad experience. Or
I think for me, probably I did like a hamburger challenge at McDonald's. And I think it was because they were so dry.
Yeah.
But it really put me off McDonald's hamburgers because all I can remember is just tasting bread and like kind of like fatty meat.
Yeah.
With no sauce. Like each Macca's is different, but this one just was a bit
dry.
Bit skimpy on the sauce.
Yeah.
And like the thought of eating a McDonald's hamburger right now was just like, and I used to love them. I was like,
Fuck yeah.
Cheeseburgers are obviously better, but like the
hamburgers are cheaper.
I think I love double quarter pounder.
$2 hamburgers. Like I was like,
What's your favorite? I think mine's double quarter pounder. out of all the Macca's burgers.
Yeah, I love a Big
Just
Mac.
Old Faithful.
McOz. Remember the McOz?
Oh,
They
McOz,
fucking
yeah.
And they
you
brought
gotta
it-
have beef.
Beef
They brought,
burger
they brought
is
one back
elite.
called the Cowboys burger that was similar
Yeah.
for a bit there, but
yeah.
McOz was my go-to growing up.
yeah,
Hey,
see?
mum, what do you want? Can I have a McOz burger?
That beef
And then,
burger is hard, eh?
hey, what drink you want? Coke float. Mum, like, can I get a Coke floater?
Yeah, always.
Was that with the ice cream and shit?
Yeah.
I never
Can I get a
really
floater?
got into them. Spiders, eh?
Spiders.
We used to
Oh,
do
fuck, that
spiders.
shit was, the
Yeah,
old spiders.
McOz's.
I forgot about that.
McOz's were good,
That was
man.
good.
Yeah,
That
I remember what years ago on Charters Towers, heaps of us got together and we made a little scavenger hunt. Just a heap of teenagers when we were young, like we come up with this bullshit because there's nothing to do out there. It was boring. We made all these lists, like you got to climb on top of this building, you got to explore there's a place called Mossman Hall. It's an old mental institute that was abandoned. You got to go explore that. You got to do all
That
this
sounds
stuff.
haunted, bro.
Yeah, it was haunted. It was a cool thing. Like, I didn't think until I was an adult. I was like, man, we used to go explore an old abandoned mental institute. That's fucking crazy. That's what you ever hear Paddy Murray go, hey, buddy from Mossman Hall. That's what he's talking about. There's all mental. But anyways,
Any crazy shit happened there?
Oh yeah, a little bit spooky one time. Fucking when we went there when we were young as. Long story short, we went upstairs and it was all abandoned. You just go around and find shit. We went upstairs in a building, walked around, couldn't see anything up there, went downstairs, and we just heard some cunt running upstairs. And we looked around. We looked around, and all of us were there. Like I think it was like.
It's like daytime or
Carlo,
nighttime?
nah,
or-
about 1 a.m. or something.
That is horrifying, bro.
And then we just fucking looking around. Everyone was there with us, and we're like, "Fuck!" We just started running. Another time we went there, and we got the fire extinguisher. Someone grabbed the fire extinguisher, and then fucking. This is literally out of a padded room. They had a padded room, and then coming out of these cells, and they had a fire extinguisher. Fucking. I pulled the pin out and started spraying my mates. I think we were drunk, being silly buggers. And then we seen a light come on. It must have been someone, because people now get this. Now it's like a retirement village. They've converted.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
It's
Like the
fucked
old
up. They built it
hospital
all to-
down in North Ward.
Yeah.
We used to go through there at night time.
Oh, long story short, I slept on the top of that.
Did you?
Yeah, years
I
ago.
remember
with me and my
people
mates.
saying, "Oh, we'll go walk through there at night." I'm like, "Fuck that."
Well, me and my mate,
No
when we
way.
came up from Charters one time, we were young as Lukey, the mate you met. We went up to, we're like, fuck, we'll go out, we'll go drinking, and we had nowhere to stay. So that we jumped the fence, climbed up the top roof, slept on that in the sleep bag. I was so drunk, I just passed out, nothing about it. My mate, he actually fucking wasn't.
Well, I've
drunk,
heard
he
some
had to stay awake.
spooky stories from there, and now it's an apartment building.
Yeah.
Now people live
Like,
there.
I wonder if people are getting crazy shit happening.
I wonder, hey.
But that,
I would
that
want to live there.
when that fire extinguisher thing happened, the light come on, and we're like, fuck. So we all started legging it. It was a big flat, and I was running at the front, and I didn't realize I was holding the fire extinguisher in as I was running. I looked back, and it was just gas, and all my mates are running through it, coughing their rings out. They're all running through the smoke and shit. But yeah, where I was getting to with the story is
They
one
were
of
just eating your dust.
Cop dusted them, too quick for you, butter. No, but one of the things I was getting to is one of the things we put on the scavenger hunt was you had to reverse through the McDonald's driveway.
No.
Yeah,
that's
so that
wild.
night the staff had like 10 cunts coming in reverse. Like, what the fuck is going on
They'd
tonight?
be like, what is happening with these kids?
Yeah. But no, I think mine's a double quarter pounder overall, I reckon. Or,
Just a normal quarter pounder for me.
but if I'm going
Chicken
anything,
burger on the side.
I'm going KFC burger. I think that's. Have you done a challenge at KFC?
Yeah. So I did. Like, I want to do another one though. So like a while back, I decided I was like, oh, I was just trying to think of like other things like challenges
Mix it up.
that weren't like restaurant challenges because I've like run out basically in this town. So I was like, all right, well, I'll try and do 1 calorie of KFC for every follower I had at the time. Wow. So it was like 9,000.
What's 1 calorie there? That would be like fucking one tiny little.
Yeah, well,
crumb
you
or
would
what?
you would think so, and that's what I thought too. I was like, this would be easy. So it was like 9,000 calories, but it worked out to be like I think it was like 8 burgers, 4 chips, like 12 wings, and so like it actually worked out to be more than I thought. But I guess also 9,000 calories is quite a bit.
It is,
of
man.
calories.
That's a big day of
I
eating.
still sort of can't. I've never
Counted or anything.
gotten into
Like counting
food or
yeah,
calories or weighing your food, all that. What's an average intake for a person in
I
a
think
day, sort of
couple of
thing, or a
thousand,
meal?
maybe.
What's
Yeah,
the calories?
couple of thousand for like an adult male.
Or like
Because I think I looked at when I was trying to put
Oh,
weight
so
on.
probably like I think it's like 22 to 2,500.
Yeah, right.
Depending on what you do, obviously, like if you've got a lot of muscle or if you're very lean, some people that are very like skinny, they'll need even more just to.
I was trying to eat 3,000 to 4,000.
Yeah, I was
when
going to
trying
say.
to put weight on a bag of bones.
Some people
So
will eat even
9,000
more.
is triple that.
Yeah, so
Which is fucked
but
up.
I think like
That's a lot of food.
like about 2,500 for like an adult male is about average.
Pretty average, yeah.
Pretty average.
So that's
for-
like what nearly quadruple times that.
Yeah, so
in one sitting.
In one sitting. So I guess the other thing too is like I get lots of questions like, how will you not fat?
Yeah.
And then straight away people are like, do you vomit? Like, what do you do? Like, tell us, like, what do you really do?
Doing the old fucking
model
trick, supermodel trick after.
He's going down.
But I was like, no, I keep it down because I just kind of feel like I'd be cheating otherwise.
Yeah.
But it's so like I've sort of figured out how many calories I need per day, and then I'll sort of like bring that down around the challenge. So say if I've got like a big, like I'll do a challenge today, this afternoon. So it's like it's Wednesday, so Monday and Tuesday I've eaten like 500 calories, if not more, less than what I need.
Yeah,
and then
it balances out kind of thing.
Yeah, like cause it's not that you necessarily get fat from eating too many calories on the day. It's too many calories consistently.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like your body is not like, oh my god, he's eating 8,000 calories today. Let's make him fat. If it's like, okay, for the week, you're like you're 2,000 calories over. That's only a 2,000 calorie gain per se, opposed to. But if you did a challenge every day, which I've done in periods where I've just gone like, oh, I'll do 3 challenges in 3 days, and then you jump on the scales, and a lot of it's water, but you're like, oh my god,
straight on.
And then it's like time for a diet week. So
then you diet, then you shred,
and then just sort of
I suppose when you go to work, you do a lot of like.
I think
fitness and that.
The benefit of being away for a week in the mines, being underground, is like there's no temptation to do challenges out there.
Yeah.
So like out there, I've sort of made a pact with myself that.
Oh, you still camp challenge going?
So one of the bosses hit me up.
You know the Pavlova and that.
One of the bosses hit me up.
Where he works is one of the first like mines I worked at years ago when I was 17. I worked out there.
Wow.
Flight out. We did a shutdown out there, and my first initial reaction was like, because I'd never been to mining, never been to camp food, was like. This is the fucking best,
like fucking
it's so good, but the thing is, when you eat it all the time, you get sick of it. But they have Pavlova.
It's free. Like
it's all free. You don't have to wash up.
100%. So
when I'm out of camp feed.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the bosses actually asked me, "Would you be keen one time?" So
one of everything.
Yeah.
We're like, well, that's a good idea.
It's a big buffet, so that's
we're trying to think of what we could do. So that would be wild. That'd be cool. But yeah, I was like, man, that would be really cool. Just because I've never
tell the chefs, cheer it up with the chefs.
I've never seen anyone do a FIFO food challenge, so it would be really fun to be the first person I've ever seen to do it. I'm sure someone maybe somewhere did it, but I've never seen it recorded.
How would you do it? Would you'd starve all day and do it as a dinner challenge?
That's what
on your last night.
I was thinking.
You don't have to work the next day.
Well, because like with days, we fly in Thursday night and then we work like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was thinking. Like don't eat on the Thursday and then just come out and like send the food Thursday night, because I haven't had to work all day starving.
Yeah.
Because I think with the challenges in town it's okay because I don't have I don't have to do a lot of manual labor all day. So I haven't it's 2:30 right now. I haven't eaten all day. But also I've trained this morning. But other than that, it's not like I haven't been throwing bolts around and hanging up vents and
busting your ass.
And
sweating balls.
No one's
dehydrated's a big one.
And no one's relying on me to pull my weight.
Yeah.
Whereas that at work, I thought, if I fly on like Thursday night, but we'll see. At the moment, I'm using it as like my little fat camp to lose weight for the week.
That's your week.
That's my week to get back to normal. So
week on, week off.
Food challenges.
Eat on my days off, shred on my days on.
I was joking to someone the other day, and I told him that I was FIFO food challenges. I told him,
you pretty much are.
Yeah, it feels like it. So. They're like, because a few people have got the misconception that this is my full-time job, which don't get me wrong, would be amazing.
That would be the dream.
And down the track, it would be sweet to be able to swing this to a content creation type of thing that I could do it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's a few people like
people got to work, but
they're like, oh, I wish I could get paid to eat burgers. I was like, me too. That's what I'm doing.
They think you're flying around getting these things for free.
Also, some of these challenges must be expensive, man.
Yeah,
like when you rack up all that food.
I'm very lucky in the respect where like a few restaurants will make special stuff for me. Especially within Townsville, because I guess it's like a pretty close knit community and there's not loads. I don't really know anyone else that does the food challenges around Townsville.
Yeah.
So I'll have places hit me up and be like, hey man, GYG hit me up the other day. If you can eat 8 burritos, we'll give them to you for free.
That's cool.
Cool. Which was fantastic because like you said, as much as I love making the videos and I am fortunate to have a week at work where I don't pay for food. So I save money there that I put towards food here. But at the same time, like you said, they can be expensive because once you start getting in all right, today I'm going to eat 10 Whoppers. Well, how much is...
$100 or whatever.
Easily. Or something like that.
Yeah.
So...
and then you do it a couple of days later or the next day or whatever.
Yeah, so that's why I try and do, I'll try and do 2 challenges the week I'm back.
Yeah.
So I've got, something to post each week. So I've got one video, at least one video a week. Yeah. It's not too bad on the pocket because I've got 1 full week off. And also it's like, I like to think that I'm there enough that people are interested, but I don't want to be that dude that spams it too much because one, I'll run out of ideas, and two, I think then like
you might get sick of it as well.
Yeah, I don't want to burn out, but I also don't want people to be like, oh, we've seen you do this like 6 times this week. Like, sometimes too much of a good thing for everyone. And I think for my body, like, I want to stay as healthy as possible.
Yeah, so you're not punishing it too much.
Like...
That FIFO challenge would be fucking pretty good, man.
My go-to
on night shift, man, we used to do night shifts. And when I was reeling on mills, it was a prick of a job, man. Like, you're swinging sledgehammers, knocking bolts. It's just like the most physical. It's probably harder than running bolts. It's like the most fuck thing. So come breakfast, you are starving, man.
Keen for a
like now I do night shifts. I don't even eat breakfast when I get home. I just go crash out because I'm not busting my asshole. But doing that job, I was working so hard. And my go-to was a plate full of hash browns. You know, the little triangle hash browns? Plate full of hash browns. And then I'd go like a few scoops of baked beans over it. And then I'd go the poached eggs that were runny and just... And I just have a plate full of that. But it's like
what's your favourite meal, like breakfast, lunch, or dinner? If you could go out, like going out for breakfast, going out for lunch, or
mine, I'd say, and it also used to happen at the mining camps, was potato bake. If I seen potato bake in the thing, my entree straight up was potato bake butter.
Who took all the potato bake?
But if you could go out for a feed, like say you and your missus are going out, would you rather go out for breakfast?
I thought you were talking about food. Okay, yeah, right. I'm a sucker for breakfast. I like my hollandaise, but then I love the dinner feeds.
I love going out for a good dinner. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like buffet breakfasts.
Yeah, that one that we used to go to when we all used to go to at the casino.
Yeah, casino.
The Palm House buffet.
$20.
So good. Yeah.
We went there. We used to go there. People, us boys, like from work.
Yeah.
And you'd see the chefs.
Tuesday morning would be $20.
Yeah.
We'd roll in with like all the Usos and that all big Paulino.
Big 150 kilo lads.
And then you'd see us rolling in, and you'd see the chefs just like.
That's like exactly that's like scenario, I guess, of like breakfast at like bedtime. So after a night shift, because I love breakfast buffets, but I can't do anything after them because I'm just. I'm incapacitated. I've had too much holidays and bacon.
Big scrub pipe.
So it's like that's a great scenario, I guess. Like going after a night shift and then that's you for the day.
I love the hollandaise in a bowl. That's what I love. Like some of those places that have the buffets. There's one in the city. I don't even know if I want to say it on here. It's a bit of a secret.
You're telling the $19 one?
Underground one. The $19 one in the city.
The bargain.
Yeah. And they have a bowl of hollandaise. Literally a bowl of it. So you just fucking at the end of your meal.
Straight in your bag.
I'll fill my cup up, but drink it.
Fuck that, eh? Have your bacon, have a drink of
No, it's fucking good.
What's your favourite sauce? Other than man sauce.
Yours, Gunny loves it. Oh, baby gravy.
Man sauce, hollandaise, and what's third?
Hooper loves the baby gravy. Oh, fuck. I don't know. I don't mind the old Diane, eh? On a steak butt.
Yeah.
Diane sauce on a good steak. It depends what it's going with. Hollandaise, man, maybe hollandaise. Fuck.
Do you add like sauce and shit to your meals? Like say you get like that first one, a kilo of chips or a side. Yeah. Do you have to add something to it, or does that more calories that makes it harder? Or
it just depends, I guess, like on what it is and how it tastes. Because sometimes you'll just have chips by themselves, and it just depends how they're cooked. It depends what type of chips they are, and they're amazing.
Yeah, you don't need anything.
They're perfect. Yep. And then other times you eat them and they're just not really enjoyable, and that's when I really try to utilize like sauces that I enjoy
to mix up the flavor.
To mix it up and also just make it get down, because like all those starchy carbs like bread, fries, that sort of thing. Really hard, like after handfuls of chips and handfuls of bread, like
you have that moment when you can't breathe,
and it just hits your chest. You're like, man, I need something to wash this down. And like when you're not trying to drink too much, sometimes just having that little bit of sauce make things just a little bit smoother on the way.
Actually, grilled herbed mayo. You know grilled?
Grilled, yes. Actually, that is really
great. That sauce. I'll put that up there. That's up there for.
They do the burrito bar down here in Curl.
Love it. I reckon
the sauce they put on their chips is lovely,
is the best. I reckon burrito bar, in my fucking opinion, is the best Mexican in Townsville. We always like at work. Cunts just love Mexican. To be honest, some of the best food I've ever had is in Mexico. Like it's literally some of the nicest.
I do love Mexican food.
It is so good, but people are always like GYG or fucking. I'm like, I reckon burrito bar's the best. You know, that'd be a good challenge. I
haven't done a burrito bar challenge actually, which would be fun because I love Mexican food.
It's probably my favorite.
Across from KT now.
Oh yeah, it is too. Yeah. That's a good idea actually.
One of the best my foods, and I love like Indian food's pretty good too, man. I love Indian food up there.
Yeah.
But the food it's a classic thing like the food in Thailand. There's nothing like the Thai
It's
food
way
here.
different.
Way
the food in
it
India?
is way different.
There's
It
nothing
is
to the
way
food
different.
here.
Just
Like,
the flavors and stuff.
You,
How
you,
fresh
you
is
did
so
Annapurna, right?
different, yeah.
Didn't you? You did the Annapurna.
No, I
Oh,
didn't
you
actually.
didn't?
No, I was
Okay.
supposed to, but I didn't.
right.
So yeah, it was really funny. Like, Dad got onto me and he was like, "Oh, this fella from before I met you, this fella from work had done this like walking circuit, you know, in Nepal.
Yeah.
You should do it." And I was like, "Yeah, sick, like keen as." Got all the information on it, and then it was like the craziest thing, man. Woke up the day before I was supposed to go, hadn't had an injury, nothing had happened, and my ankle was just blown out. And I was like, "Oh man, I have no idea." The tour I was supposed to be on with, they had an avalanche and half of them died. And it was wild. I get goosebumps talking about it. And then 2 days later, my ankle was fine.
But like up top, just looking at
it was, and I can't describe it because like I like to think I could push through a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
But it was to the point where I was like, I can't.
And
do
you
this.
don't remember like rolls.
No, I woke up
What are the
and I
chances?
it's not like I hadn't been like out and drinking and partying. I literally was like sober for the week, went to bed, woke up, and was like, I can't do this.
Wow.
And then to hear about the accident, I was
definitely-
like.
That's definitely old mate up top.
Yeah,
looking
that's
at
like
it.
one of them things
Yeah.
like you were meant to. Have you heard things of
Yep.
like when 9/11 and shit happened, people were like, their alarm didn't go off that morning, or
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
fucking like certain
Yeah.
things
Stuck in
happen
traffic or yeah.
when it never happens to them,
Yeah,
and it's like
on that day.
they were meant to be there at that time, like
Yeah.
that tour.
Just meant for a reason. I read one yesterday. It
fucking
was,
weird, eh?
gave me goosebumps, and it was on the IG, and it was about this pediatrician who a baby was choking when they gave birth. A baby was choking, and the pediatrician saved the baby. 30 years later, the ped was in a house fire and about to fucking die, and a fucking fire. He ran out and saved him, brought him out,
That baby.
saved him.
No.
And it was the baby. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I could have been a troll. Could have been. Who
No,
knows
but
these
like,
days?
but
Who
stuff
knows?
like
Someone can
that-
post a photo and
stuff
just
like
bullshit.
that does
yeah.
happen though.
Yeah,
Like, that's
it does.
incredible.
That's the way
like,
the cookie. It goes to show the world works in mysterious ways. You know, the universe is crazy. There's something, but that is insane, man. That, but and where I was going with that is the Annapurna and a lot of Nepalese culture, and it happened in Sri Lanka too. If you order dal, like a DAHL, it's like a curry. It's in their culture.
Dal,
is
dal.
dal. Yeah, that's
That's him.
He's
That's
Welsh,
him.
you know.
That's
You
him.
know he's Welsh.
really.
Yeah, the fucking author. He's Welsh.
There you go. But if you order something that if you order that feed, it's like never ending.
Oh, okay.
So we were ordering that all through the Annapurna
I've
because
heard about that.
if
Yeah.
you order, say you order something different on the menu, you get one bowl of it. If you order dal, they just keep on bringing it out. If you finish it,
right.
it's in their customer. It's
That's a food challenge. I can
yeah,
get around.
you just
like,
keep on like
yeah.
that's what was so good for me when we were doing these big days trekking and
For
hiking.
sure.
We'd order dal and then you'd finish your plate. They'd be like, more? And you'd be like, yeah, mate. And it just
Please,
keep on
yeah.
coming, keep on coming. But if you ordered something different, it'd just be one bowl.
Yeah,
It's just because they do such a big bulk cook up of the dal.
Wow.
That's a crazy story, man. Lucky you didn't
That's-
fucking go, bro.
Man, it's just stuff like that just makes.
So I remember talking to Judgy about it. That's why I thought you might have done it or
Yeah,
something.
well, because I was supposed to.
Yep.
I was supposed to. So yeah, little things like that that you just sort of go.
Meant for a
"All right,"
reason, eh?
Like yeah, for
Sometimes.
sure. You know,
Sometimes a blessing in disguise, eh? You know,
100%.
at the time you're
you
like,
know.
you're fucking so devo. Like,
I know, I was
fuck.
proper devastated
You
at
would've
the
been,
time.
man.
I was like, man,
Yeah.
I'm here. When will I be back here?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of once in a lifetime. Sort
It
of.
felt like it because there's so many other places in the world I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to go to new places before I go back to the places I've
Yeah,
been.
that's
So
right.
you're
Yeah, exactly.
right. It might be one of the only times I'm in Nepal.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the challenge you're doing this of? If you can, or you
I'm-
save it for, you know.
Yeah.
save-
No.
save for
So
social media?
I'm not really sure. I've got like a couple of like choices, I guess, but like they've just released that big the Grand Mac or whatever it is at McDonald's.
I see that.
So it's like
yeah.
a bigger Big Mac.
But it's like, I think, is it like a Big Mac, but a
Three.
quarter pounder size?
Something like
Or
that.
bigger than that, you reckon?
I'm not sure. So
Because
it's
if the Big Mac was, I always thought if the Big Mac was quarter pounder size, that's my burger.
it's got to be. Yeah. Yes.
Because the Big
yeah.
Macs are always just a little bit too
It's-
small.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
you know?
yeah.
So that's
They're
why I
full of
thought-
shit calling it the Big Mac.
The Big
Yeah,
Mac.
fucking
yeah.
medium Mac.
The medium Mac. And this is the
Mickey Mac.
Oh, Mickey Mac.
So I was
Oh,
like,
Baby
oh,
Mac.
maybe like just get like 8 to 10 of them and try and do that. Or I love Domino's too. So I was
Yeah.
like, do like because like ages and ages ago as well, I did a Domino's pizza challenge and I ate 6. So it was like, it'd be cool. I figured it out that like 7.5 pizzas is 10,000 calories. So I thought I could do like the 10 Grand Mac challenge or the 10,000 calorie pizza challenge.
Yeah.
And I like, it doesn't really always have to be like big numbers like that, but I just find for myself and other people, like they just seem to, you have like a number, like the 10,000 this or the 10
It's like
blah,
yeah.
blah.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
if
know?
it's a good, nice rounded
Rounded
off
up,
number,
sure.
people can sort of,
You know, and
yeah.
like even something as simple as like when I'm filming the videos, try and think of like what will it look like in the thumbnail. So like, okay, if I've got 10 burgers, you'll go like a pyramid, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the opening through. People go,
Yeah, it
oh,
looks more-
burger
Yeah,
burger
yeah,
tower.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
with the pizzas, you stack a box, like, you know, you've got 8 boxes. It's just like with social media, anything that can get people's interest. I feel like once you get them to click, a lot of the time they'll be like, all right, I'm committed.
I'm there now.
It's only a minute, you know, it's only like a minute, so they'll be like, oh, let's see what happens.
Half the battle.
But it's just, you know, it would be a lot easier if we were all hot girls.
At the end of the day, little bikini
to
shop.
get people to
Put
click.
that in the thumbnail.
10 pizzas in front of you, little bikinis.
Just naked behind the boxes.
When you do set these challenges, whether it be X amount of burgers or calories or whatever, how do you set like the times? Are these things that you've seen before, you've just made up?
Yeah.
This would be a rough time limit to...
Yeah.
Especially if it's something you don't know about.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you just
like
wing
how
it
many
or?
cunts are eating 10 pizzas? It's like, how long does that take?
How long would that take? Yeah. It could be ages.
So how do you come up with, I'm going to do this in half hour? Or...
I try and figure out like roughly like the weight or like how heavy something would be, because I train a bit of stomach capacity, so I kind of have a rough idea of how much volume my stomach can hold. Just from just like you know, you'll eat a meal and then you'll chug like 3 liters of water or something just to expand your stomach. So there is like ways to train to increase your belly capacity.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'll look at something like that and I'll be like, okay, like what is like an ideal time? What is a time that's probably more likely? And what's like worst case scenario, like I'm dying. And I always try and shoot between like realistic and like worst case. Like if it's something very big, because you're gonna start fast.
Well, you want something to like trying to reach for, right?
To go for sure.
Trying to push yourself.
But then sometimes again with like bigger challenges, like I did that 10 Whopper one not too long ago.
Yep.
That really was just like I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm just gonna start the timer, and my goal is to just finish. You know, like maybe it takes 30 minutes, maybe it takes 50. I try not like. I've never done any challenges that spans over an hour. I feel like if I can't eat it in an hour, it's just a bit long. You know, so like I think if I'm still sitting there and it's 59 minutes, then I'll happily go. I'll come back, or maybe it's just too much. Like there is down the track, I'm sure.
There's definitely limitations, isn't
Of course, you know, and like I think it also kind of detracts from the quality of the video. If you start like the first 20 minutes, you're like boom, 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 and then you just sit there like it really kills the vibe. Like I'd rather stop it and be like, oh well. Today got me, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, because really there should be a limit set on everything, because anyone can probably sit there for 5 hours and eat that.
And like, you know, by the time it starts almost settling again, you can eat like, you know.
And it's like you said, it's not good for the video. Otherwise, what do you got to times 20 the last
times 20, you know, and exactly like you said, like this is supposed to be, well, it starts off like a challenge, and I want it to be fun for me, because I think the videos that seem to do the best are the ones that I am legitimately enjoying. You know, and people can kind of feel, oh, he's having fun.
Yeah, you can tell.
If I'm sitting there for 5 hours, like people could be like, this guy's just wasting time.
Milking it, there's no.
Yeah, you know.
Fucking hurry up, cunt. I want the table you're sitting on.
Yeah, get off the table. I still get shy at restaurants, so I don't like being there too long.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know. Boy, have you done more sushi? I think you have.
So I did.
Because that's what I love. I love sushi.
Ages and ages.
I got Wara sushi this morning.
I had it yesterday.
I like it because you can eat to how much. Like it's not a set amount.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you don't have to wait either. You can order, but you don't have to. Like, so I did like a smaller one.
Oh yeah, you did it with another mate or something.
Yeah, so that was.
That's when they had that deal going.
There was a challenge. It was like if you and a friend can eat 50 plates of sushi in under 30 minutes, you get it for free. And whoever eats the most. In Australia, they win like money and stuff. So like the ones that won, I think the team that won was like 80 or something. Wow. It was phenomenal. It was
half hour, 80 plates.
So it was you've got 30 minutes to eat 50, and then at the end of the 30 minutes they go, would you like another 20 minutes? But the conditions of the challenge, were you get 50 plates for free, and then you pay for every additional plate after 50, but you know, if you're one of the teams with the top 3 scores in Australia, you can win up to $3,000. So it's almost sort of kind of like if you know you're going to eat 80, you pay for 30, but you might win $3,000. And that's what happened for them. So me and my mate did it, and then he did well. He did really well. Like, and I practiced.
Is he into these challenges as well?
Not as much as me. I got someone that's. It's funny actually. I hit up a mutual friend, and I was like, I've got the second best time at. Like OBJ's for the hot dog. Who's got the first? And they're like, oh, it's this guy. So randomly, but on Facebook, I was like, hey, bro, you don't know me, but
that's wicked.
I'll eat some sushi.
Let's team up
but
together.
do you want to team up and eat some food? Because like I know you can obviously put it away because you got the best time for this thing. So he was like, I'm keen, bro, definitely. Awesome. We ended up getting 50 plates, and it just sounds so much easier than it was going to be. We were just like, 25 plates each, piece of cake, no stress at all. He did really well. He ended up getting 20. I got 30, and I was shocked as at 30.
A lot of that's rice too, so it's
for
dense,
sure.
right? It's just
and
pure
then,
fucking.
but then at the end of the challenge as well, the little lady comes up and she goes, "Why didn't you pick the smaller plates?" And I go, "I thought we had to do a variety." She said, "No, you can do all small plates." And I was
so
like,
you could eat whatever you want
as long as they were plates. So they could be, you could do like
veggies with the rice paper
for sure,
fuck all,
for sure. Or you could do the little. You know how you've just got like the 2 bits of rice with like the prawns on top?
Yeah.
That's a plate. So I'm eating rolls of 4, thinking that I'm being like fair, and she's like,
and there's literally plates with one thing on it.
You're like, I'll be back tomorrow.
So
I'll be back
like,
in 2 days.
not that I think it would have really ultimately affected our position overall, but I think in terms of us getting the 50 down, because it was 28 minutes, and like that's the other catch in the challenge. If you don't finish 50 plates, you pay for them. So if you have eaten 49 plates, if you've eaten 49 plates in 30 minutes, bro, your bill is hundreds. And we were looking,
they're like $6 a pop on average.
We were looking at the bill, man, and some of them were more than $6. Our bill was like $400. So like, and my mate did well. He did real well, but he hit like 18, and I hit 25. And I was starting to be like, cool, I fulfilled my agreement. I'm slowing down.
Catch up a bit.
You got 7 to go, bro. We're cool. And he's like, I'm full. And I was like, no. So I was
thinking
like,
of money, can't.
I was like, that's why I was just being cheap. I was like, let's go. So I just kept going. And then, in that time, I'd like forced down a couple extra. He did. So like he ended up with 20. I got 30.
So you didn't have to pay.
Bro, it was like 29 minutes and 40 seconds. I was like,
20 seconds, fucking $400.
Because I was like, I just wanted the free sushi. Like, I
at that point,
if
you know you're not going to win.
When you're that busted, when you're feeling that fucked and you have to pay $400 as well,
that's a double win.
That's a proper kick in the gut.
That's the stinger.
Holy cow.
But stuff like that is like cool memories. Like I'll always have that story.
You remember exactly when you're older. You know,
and then I made a friend from it because I didn't know this guy before.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was like so random to be like, hey, bro. Do you want to go eat some food? Like, I was like, he's probably going to block me. Like, this guy's weird as hell. But nah, he was real cool.
Good on him for actually following up with it too.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
that's awesome. So what challenges could we look forward to?
I try and keep things relatively fresh and not plan too far ahead. Yeah. But the one thing I will say is like I'm always open to ideas. So I've had a few like people reach out and be like, hey, what about this? And I'll be like, if you don't mind, I will do exactly that. So like if there's not like an actual specific restaurant challenge, like preferably in the next couple of months, I'm going to go down to Brizzy and Gold Coast because there's a lot of set challenges. So I don't have to think about the time. I don't have to think about the weight. I just rock up. Yeah. And the beauty with those two is if you win, they're free. You know what I mean? They are free. Not like so like I don't have to like worry about the setup costs and stuff as well. But then again, I've been super lucky with some of these businesses in Townsville. They'll reach out and be like, hey, like we'll provide the food, tag us in the video.
That's awesome, man.
That's sort of, man, and like actually shout out to Sandwich Express in Townsville. They were the first person to ever reach out and go
I've seen that challenge.
They were the first person to ever reach out, and this was like probably June last year. I've done another one. I've done another one with them since. So good, delicious, like really good food too.
Fuck yeah.
And it's like a local family-owned business, which is even better.
Yeah, that's good. Sandwich Express is awesome.
Yeah, and it just it makes you feel good. You go in there and it's like the mum and the brother and the sister and. But yeah, so they were the first people to ever be like, look, we'll provide the food if you want to film in store, and then other businesses thought that. So it was them and Mr. Marco, the sushi place out near like Durigan, I think it is. Yeah. So it was those two were the first like businesses that ever reached out, but from doing that, it got other people keen. Yeah.
Well, it's good on them too, because man, that gives them that's free advertisement.
Yeah, and it's just good vibes too. Yeah. Like it's really nice of them
because they're supporting local.
I like to think that it's a bit of a mutual benefit. Hopefully,
it goes both ways. Should try. Do you eat seafood?
Yeah.
You should try seafood challenge.
Yeah.
Because that would be hectic, man.
That would be crazy.
You should get someone to go out and catch a heap of mud crabs. See how many mud crabs you can slay.
There's like
on the beach doing it too.
Imagine that. I did not on the beach, but at the Strand. I did Did you ever have people in school that did the 3-liter milk challenge?
Yeah.
So it was that was yucky. If you want to talk about one of the worst challenges I ever did, I don't even like plain milk that much.
Same.
So I went to the Strand because I honestly expected that one to come back up.
Yeah.
It didn't, thank God.
Yeah, didn't it?
No,
I don't know. Because that was the challenge. It was a 1 litre or 2 litre bottle or something back in the day.
3 litres.
3 litre, was it?
3 litres, and then you've got to scull it as quick as possible. And then, obviously, because a lot of people don't eat that much, which is fair enough. Like, who eats...
Just comes back out.
Bomb. It hits your belly and goes straight back up. Like, I remember the kids at school used to dye them. They used to dye them different colours, like food dye, like blue,
Full
and then
exorcist
blue and yellow, and so there'd be like 4 mates, 4 different coloured milks, and they'd be doing it, and like, it was.
Oh, I might do that for my next gender reveal.
Imagine. We've started something.
Colour comes up.
We've started something here.
That is rank, yeah. It's pretty heavy, eh? Milk's pretty heavy.
I was filming that at the beach, and I got some looks.
Yeah,
That's where I was going from that. You're saying filming at the beach.
Like dude covered in tats just sculling a milk bottle.
Looking like a crackhead, like, get away from my milk. Like, and then afterwards, people were trying to talk to me, and I'm like burping, like, whoa, just keep a splash zone, keep a splash zone. Like,
So if people want to keep up to date with these fucking crazy challenges that are coming up, where do we?
So on Instagram, it's just my name, so it's just Jimmy Judge.
That's the main thing, yeah.
That's so I'm going to start putting more attention into YouTube, but at the moment, Instagram is my biggest platform.
Yep.
Just because it seems to be gaining the most traction. But I'm going to start doing that on top of YouTube as well, which is Jimmy Judge Eats. Jimmy Judge Eats. So again, the quality is still in this like infancy stage, but like slowly but surely the editing.
We're all learning this.
Yeah, hey, that's it, right?
New technology age and social media.
Just wing it, bro.
100%.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming in, man.
No, thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Good chat. I've been enjoying the videos and
yeah, I'll rate them.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you haven't, I've been enjoying the podcast.
Yeah.
Keep on coming.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah, if you haven't followed Jimmy yet, head over and have a look at his past challenges, and he's got plenty more exciting ones coming up.
50 boiled eggs. Give it a crack.
Watch out for that one.
He's scared.
If anyone thinks they can beat him, maybe they
give it a crack,
give him a head-to-head challenge.
Yeah,
1v1.
But cheers for coming.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, guys. Awesome. Appreciate it.
We're going to be getting some more guests in hopefully soon, so stay up to date with everything.
Listen out for the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.
Ciao, ciao.